Howdy, and welcome to the Choose a Happy Day show, a podcast for women who want to up-level their life, manifest those dreams, and just live happier. If you have vision boards, love energy work, are into psychics, and feel you are meant for something more in this life, then this show is for you. Hi, I'm Lorraine Toth, an award-winning filmmaker, author, Reiki master, photographer, and creative genius who also loves to vision board. And I am here to bring you all of the tips and tricks to help you up-level your life. Now let's go and hop on that happy train. All right, welcome back to the Choose a Happy Day show. My name is Lorraine Toth, and today I have Cody Wasial of We Plant Joy, right?
Yes.
Oh, and Cody's here to talk about all things happiness and all that.
Yes.
So say hello, Cody.
Oh, hello, Cody. I mean, hello, YouTube people and
Spotify
and all the others. Welcome, welcome. Yes,
welcome.
I am the Cody Wasial of the We
Yes.
Plant Joy and the Cody Factor.
And Cody, I met at Palette.
Yes.
You were doing a Palette Pro Talk mixer, I guess,
yeah.
and you were the one in the middle. And
I was the filling in the sandwich.
Yes. And I was like, wow, who is this firecracker? I loved your little 5-minute TED talk. So I asked you to be a guest, right?
Yeah, you did. You were like, I love this. I wrote so many things down. And I was like, oh, great.
Yes. I was trying to be like, keep eye contact, but I was taking notes on my notes app and my phone. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I need to interview her. So yes, I have a list of questions prepared for you.
Great. I have my.
Oh yeah. Look. Okay.
I'm prepared to answer my questions now.
Okay. For those of you listening on Apple and Spotify, she has a blow up microphone, circa 1980-ish looking.
Yeah, for sure. I wish it squeaked.
It's like it squeaked.
But it doesn't. Okay, anyway.
So anyway, she's got two microphones.
This got two microphones and a mouth to go. There we go. Where it's at. Happy podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in case you guys haven't picked up on the fact, Cody is extremely happy. She's like me. I don't know. The two of us, we'll see if we can get through this.
This will make more sense later as you learn more about who I am.
Okay, good. We'll get to that. All right. So let me, I guess, my first intro is like, how did you get into this? What makes you qualified to talk about happiness, Cody?
Oh, well, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What?
Why are you here?
That's a deep question.
Yes.
But we're going to start with initially, I've been an entrepreneur by trade.
Yes.
I owned a doggy daycare boarding facility for over 15 years.
Yes.
I built it from the ground up to $500,000 a year, 4,000 clients in the Capital District. It was magic.
Yes.
I didn't have a dream. I just went with what I was really good at and I kept doing it. And then it became what I was known for.
Oh, the doggy daycare.
The doggy daycare, fostering, rehabbing, big dog, helping big dogs, people, vacations. And then it got, then I was like fostering pigs. And then
oh, really? So it evolved.
As all things typically do.
Yes.
And then I did some like wildlife rehabilitating. And so there's like a whole bunch of things. And within all of this, I was starting to feel really burnt out.
Yes.
And, I had this idea that I was going to grow old with my employees, that I was going to hire this one first initial staff and we were going to grow old and have chickens in a chicken coop together. And I was going to put them in my will. And then when I died, they would benefit from whatever we built. And that was this vision that I had before actually going out into the real world and finding out what, actually having employees meant, what having a business meant. And that was a really incredibly harsh awakening.
Oh, it was.
It really was.
And so how many years into this did you feel the burnout?
I probably started feeling it, honestly, around like my 10th year.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. Wow.
Because there was a lot of pivots that I did prior to that. So I would try to like pivot and try something different, do this and do that. And I was so wrapped up in its growth. And it began to get bigger than me.
Yes.
And then it snowballed into like, I don't know, okay. And you're just in it. So you don't actually notice that you're burnt out initially because you're in it. and you're just doing what you need to do to survive and get through it. And you don't understand what's happening to your, cortisol levels and your nervous system. And who even knew we had a nervous system? I didn't
know. Then.
Yeah. It's like, wow, what's cortisol? Like, who the hell knows this stuff? I don't know. And so I started to, gain a lot of weight, and I started to be really, just actually unhappy, like fundamentally.
Yes.
In the sense that I was like, I need to do something different. I need to get out of here. And I started to find these different pathways that I thought was filling my cup. And at the same time that I was doing that, it was actually distracting me from my business.
Right.
So as I stepped away to try to find things that would help me, my business decreased in 10 grand a year in revenue. And this is when I realized that my business is me.
Yes.
And though part of it was, releasing some of the reins and allowing the workers to pick up some of the slack, I also had to understand that that meant that I was not going to be making what I was making.
Right.
And there was like a weird balance with that.
It's like money or happiness, right?
Yeah. And dogs do really dumb shit.
Yes.
They get into emergency situations on a fairly regular basis. I've had dogs eat through walls, like all this. So if the days off that I did have weren't actually days off.
Right.
There was no hiking on a mountain and shutting off your phone.
Yeah, no.
It was like, if there's an emergency, you're getting airlifted off the mountain to make it back to work to save the dog, to help the people. Like, it's just, so there was never an off switch.
There's not. And that's so exhausting.
It really was. And so what I noticed is I started to say, even to my clients at the time, like, I cannot do this forever. And that started this train of thoughts, like, well, what would I do?
Right.
If I can't do this forever, and this is all I know how to do, what would I do?
Yes.
And then I had all these thoughts like, well, you can't do anything else, Cody. Like, you're just going to have to be stuck here. Like, that's what you're going to have to do. You know how to clean up dog shit. Let's be real. And I'm like, well, actually, I know how to do a lot more than that. So I had this like internal like argument. I imagine like the angel and the little devil thing, like having this conversation,
always. I always have that. Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? What is this about? My clients would say, oh, it's just a phase. You'll get through it. And it really wasn't anymore. It was actually just about, how do I find my happiness again? How do I find who I am again? I felt like I was caged. I had resentment for my workers. Like when they got to quit and leave, I got like internally angry at them. I was like, why do you get to leave and I'm stuck here? And I'm like, well, because you built it.
Yeah, because you're the owner. Everything falls on you.
I'm the owner.
So any entrepreneur out there, I'm sure, can resonate and relate, right, to all of this.
Yeah.
And
100%.
That's what got me when you were doing your TED Talk. I was like, wow, I know her story. Like that burnout and just the exhaustion and the dis-ease becoming disease, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's that choice, right? Like, what's more important, my health and my happiness or this money, right?
Yeah. It's definitely, part of the choice. And so is just getting over the fear that you don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Like I literally had no idea what I was going to do.
Okay.
I had none, but I didn't figure it out initially.
No. How long did it take you?
Oh, that's a while, a little bit.
Yeah.
So like when I finally decided to sell my business, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a buyer for the business and I still had no idea what I was going to do next, but I was selling my business anyway. Okay. Like I was leaping with faith. I'm just like, I'm going to let this thing go. Yeah. I'm going to see what happens. And, family members and things were like, are you having like a midlife crisis? And I was like, no, I feel great. This is amazing. And when I sold the business, when we signed that paperwork, it was literally just before we all got, shut up in our houses. I'm not saying the thing, but yeah,
it was in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like February 2019, we signed the paperwork.
Good for you.
And I had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
Somebody knew it was coming, but it wasn't me.
But that's great. What great timing.
Well, I don't know that it was great.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to sell the business and go travel the world.
Oh, right. I didn't think about that part.
And then the world kind of got closed down there shortly after. But prior to that, I did end up getting this like free ticket to go to this thing called Dream Builder Live in California, where I saw this woman, Mary Morrissey, speak on stage. And I walked in and I thought it was like some weird cult thing. Everybody's dancing and like singing in unison. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, no freaking way. Like, I'm out of here.
I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid.
No. These people are nuts. And then the other side of me is like, well, what else are you going to do there? Like, you don't know what you're going to do. So why don't you just sit down and just be open? And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sit down and be open.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing a lot of spiritual,
Yes.
you know, wellness and all of this kind of holistic work and other things on my own for years before that.
Right.
But this was just that moment where it was like, this is nuts. This is maybe a little bit further than I'm ready for. And why are they singing in unison?
But here we go.
I'm going to sit down and we're going to try it out. So I'm watching this woman get up on stage, and her mouth and the way her lips moved across her teeth reminded me of my grandmother and the way her hands moved. And there was this comfort that happened when I was in her presence. And suddenly the things that she was talking about put all of those pieces of my life together as if it was this perfect puzzle. And I was like, I'm her. Yeah. She's me. This is what I'm meant to do. Okay. And by that, I meant speak and inspire people to do what brings them joy. Yes. What I didn't know that was going to mean first was I was going to become a life coach. I was like, oh, is that what you do first? I don't know. So I was just doing, you know, the things that were presented to me. So I went through this life coaching certification, and within that process, I got to know myself more. I put the things together more. I realized that literally everybody out there is saying the same thing. Yes. You know, spoiler alert, everybody, like everybody literally says the same thing. The secret to life is that there isn't one, and that we all say the same thing, myself included. We just say it differently, and it resonates in a different way that allows people to open to that part of themselves. Yes. But don't keep chasing it. You don't have to go very far for it. You know, it's right there. So I know a lot of people go to these events over and over again, hoping to like have this life-changing experience. And kind of after you've had your good amount of ahas and breakthroughs, you're just not going to have those types of breakthroughs anymore. And you're going to feel like something's wrong, but it's not. It just means that you've arrived at the part of yourself that just now, instead of learning what you think you need to do, you just actually need to go do it.
Go implement all that you've learned.
Right. Yes. And so I called it like you go from the I know phase, I'm learning, to the I am practicing phase, so that you can get to the I just be phase. Yes. I'm just being me. So I went across the process. I became a life coach, started doing some speaking things. I, you know, started to formulate what I thought would, and then the thing happened, and now you're here. And then I went through a bankruptcy because I couldn't sustain that by building a new business through the process. You know, it was just there's a lot of
lessons.
There were so many lessons.
That's what I call them, lessons.
Yeah, and I was like a spongy brain. I was learning so much. It was such a healing time for me. And I loved it. Yeah. You know, and I trusted the process and still trusted the process, and, you know, and then started actually building pillars for the process.
Yes, we did the pillars.
Did you like that lead in?
That's my next question. How did you know?
Oh my gosh.
Wow, guys, she's good. So anyway, my next question was, you ran me through this visioning process, I believe you called it, and you had me rate 4 quadrants from 1 to 10. And that was really eye-opening for me, because I saw that the lowest scoring one was the relationship quadrant. And I'm like, wow, I never would have thought. So I was like, and then we went deeper into that. And didn't you have me write out? So you gave me 5 minutes to write out, and for an author.
Yeah, I played you some pretty music.
Yeah, she did. It was Ram Dass or something.
It was East Forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she gives me 5 minutes. And for me, a creative author, like 5 minutes was definitely not enough, but I did what I could. Yep. And I just scribbled through my life story in 3 years, right? Is what you told me to do.
Yep. So we're projecting it out about 3 years.
Okay.
And so there's a little science behind that, right? It's far enough away that your mind believes that it's possible. Okay. Right. But it's not so far away that you think that it's not possible. So it's enough time. It's far enough away. I could accomplish these things in 3 years. Yes. It's not like a decade away that seems like impossible. And so it kind of allows your mind to open to that being a real possibility for 3 years from now.
Yes. And it was magical. I think even just the awareness, right, of which of these 4 quadrants needs some attention, maybe.
Yeah.
Or some focus, you know?
Yeah.
So
well, it's a great tool that I picked up from what I was taught in coaching.
Oh, okay.
And so some of these, you know, a lot of these principles and things that I've learned, I shifted and just did in my own way. And there's a few of them I really brought with me through the process. And this was one of the tools that I was like, this tool, it's just an awareness tool.
Okay.
You know, it's an awareness to like, what is going on? You can use this tool in like a day-to-day setting, a week setting. You know, like, how is my relationships this week? How is my time, money, freedom this week? How is my health and wellness this week?
And then
how was my
vocation.
vocation
Yeah.
this week?
Mhm.
Or how is it this month? Or right. So
Right.
when you begin that process
Yeah.
of going through the 12 pillar program, which is
Mhm.
all original from me and the things
Mhm.
that I've created over the years now,
Mhm.
you end up being able to go back and reference this little tool
Mhm.
throughout the process that shows you, oh, you know what? There have been some changes there.
Oh,
That moved a
yeah.
little bit
Mhm.
because so much of this work, to be perfectly honest, is not tangible in the sense of there may not be a Porsche outside that showed you that this created this, and this
Yes.
result yet.
Mhm.
Yet. Now, if that Porsche is on your dream list,
Mhm.
it's coming,
Mhm.
but there may be time before it gets here. And that can often be very discouraging for people.
Yes.
I know for me, I'm like, I feel like I just more patience. And I'm like, I've been patient.
No.
I've been so patient.
Yes.
And what do you mean I have to be a little more patient and a little more patient?
Mhm.
You know, and it's like, how long can you extend and like expand that patience before you're like, okay, listen, like now.
Okay, we're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
done waiting now.
Yes.
So this is a tool that helps kind of bridge that. So you
Okay.
can see those things as they're happening. Oh, you know
Yes.
what? I leveled up in my relationships.
Mhm.
And had you not taken the time and the moment to just give it a gauge,
Right.
you wouldn't know that.
Yes. No, it was really eye-opening. I was like, wow, that was the lowest one. So I was like, okay, let's put my attention here. And then with that guided thing that we did, well, I guess my future life in 3 years, it was very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I want to attract in, right, for my future life in 3 years. And spoiler alert, it was me, I don't know, a movie developed by Reese Witherspoon from a book I wrote with my husband on a dock, drinking coffee on the water.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's make this happen.
And now listen to the way that you're able to recall that.
Yeah. It's just like
that's the part that makes the difference in when we're manifesting and when we're dreaming and we're tapping into those things is when you can recall the thing that you felt. Because it's not just about writing it.
Yeah.
It's what did it make you feel? How did it smell?
Right.
What did it taste like?
Yes.
What did it physically feel like? Not just also in your heart, but, you know, like tangible, like what was the texture of the coffee mug that you were drinking out of? What was the scent on your husband's neck? What kind of things were going on? What colors were your eyes taking in when you woke up and you had that coffee? And the more you can really start to come from your dream, then the job then is only to do what you can with what you have to move you in the direction of it because you're coming from it.
Okay.
So you're just matching the frequency at that point. And obviously there's work to be done to match a frequency, right? So, and this is why we try to infuse joy into everything.
Exactly.
Because a lot of it is how do you find the peace, grace, and joy in everyday mundane things? And when you do that, you're moving yourself up that little frequency ladder.
Okay. You're moving the needle up.
Yeah.
In vibration.
Which is why I bring blow up toys to podcasts.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Look at that lead in.
You like that time?
I do.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question was practice, pivot, play into your dreams. Can you discuss this and how can our listeners do this?
Yeah. So quite like I brought the microphone to the podcast. So that is part of play.
Oh.
So it's not about waiting until Friday to play. It's not about having a vacation to go play. It's what can you do in the day-to-day normal things to infuse play into your life.
Okay.
So, you know, maybe it's buy a bottle of bubbles and keep it in your car and at a red light you blow bubbles instead of fingers.
I love that.
You know, so it's these little things, little things. Maybe it's answering the phone all day with an English accent.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it doesn't matter what it is necessarily, but just something fun. And I'm not saying you have to do these things forever.
Right.
All I'm saying is that if you do the thing that's really weird and outlandish, it begins to remap the mind because your brain says, wow, this is new and different. Oh, this is kind of fun. And you start to rewire those parts of your mind that are currently focused on all the negative things. Right. And if you're bringing yourself into that, and this is the practice part of the play. So now we have these things that we're playing with. Okay. And now we're practicing them. The act of playing is a practice in and of itself. Right. And so now you're practicing, and each practice deepens the grooves of the new map that you're creating into positivity, into joy, into laughter, into the infusing of fun.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, wow, like, you know what? Work today was
It flew by.
It flew by, and I really enjoyed it. And that person that usually comes in my office and kind of irritates the poop out of me, like really wasn't that bad today. And you start owning more of your empowered expression. You start owning more of the fact that you are actually the creator of your happiness and joy.
Yes.
You cannot control anything outside of yourself. I feel everybody can agree on that.
Yes.
Every listener out there, everybody, like you can totally agree that you 100% cannot control anything outside of you. You can 100% learn tools that help you respond differently.
Yes.
That allow you to take things in differently. And imagine now the person that usually irritates you comes into your office and you're listening, but you're not taking it in.
Right.
Maybe what they say doesn't actually matter. You don't really need to be listening. And you've just pretended that they're the peanuts guy with the womp, 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 right? And you can find some kind of inner smile with that. You can just be like, yeah, totally. And you just let it go right over. Or maybe you do feel the thing that triggers you a little bit, but now you have tools in place that help you move through it better.
Yes.
And so then you say, you know what? When you go home and you're talking to your spouse or your friend or your mom or your dad or your aunt or whoever your person is that you talk to, right? And you're telling them about your day, you start to tell a story.
Right.
Most of us tell a story that is about all the negative, poopy things that happened in the day. And then I went here and then this person, then I almost got hit over here in this car and that thing and this pulled me, right? We all know those people.
We do know those people. I call those the black energy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we may also be sometimes black energy person if we're not really being careful. Now imagine you go home and you say, wow, today was awesome. Hey, you know what? I had a really good day. And, even though there was this moment in the day that this one person came in and it really bothered me, I noticed I was able to move through it a little faster. Hey, do you want some help with dinner? I'd love to cook with you tonight.
Yeah.
Just if you go back in this recording and you hear the difference between the example of the negative conversation and the example of the one that I just gave you, you will feel the difference in the vibration just in that. And I'm not even telling a real story. So imagine now if it's a real story that you think that you're believing is your story.
Right.
Every time you repeat that story, you're owning it again and again.
And reinforcing
and
that
reinforcing
law
it.
Of attraction.
So what do you want to do?
Let's
you want to go home and you want to shift it.
Yeah.
So now you have the power with these little tools and infusing this play and this fun, and you're practicing it. You now have this tool that allows you to take control of the thing that you can control, which is it was not a whole bad day.
No,
it was a bad moment. I was scared for a second.
Yeah. Let's not let that ruin the other 23 hours and 15 minutes.
The whole day, man. Like, was it bad when you were sleeping too?
Yes.
So that's what it is. It's like,
pivot,
right. And that's the practice, pivot, and play. Okay. The pivot is when things are going on and happening. If it's not serving you anymore, stop bitching about it. Pivot.
Okay.
This is within your control.
Yes.
Me owning my doggy daycare boarding facility and feeling like I wasn't, like getting mad at my workers when they left, and pivot, Cody.
Yeah.
Pivot. What can I pivot to? Oh, I can pivot to selling. You know why? Because I wrote this story. I wrote that chapter.
Yes.
I wrote the chapter that was Cody that owned the dog business that did the thing. And then she became unhappy and I could write the new chapter.
Yes.
You're not stuck. You're not stuck anywhere. You think you are because, if you were like me, you did something and you became an expert at it. Well, how do you switch gears? Well, you just do it.
Yeah.
You do it afraid. You do it, unknowing what the next thing is. You just do it. You love yourself more. You take the leap. You do the thing.
Yes. And then you play.
And then you play. And then you play and practice and pivot and play some more.
And you wear different wigs for every episode.
I thought your hair looked different. No, I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, so that's my play. I change my hair every podcast episode.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was a redhead for Karen.
Yeah.
And today I'm a blonde. So
weren't you like a curly brunette too?
Yeah. It changes every day.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my play. I got that down.
Well, you did the blonde straight hair. This is not a wig, but I did the really great hair. The red. I'm just like a little redhead.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like a chestnutty red.
Yeah, it's beautiful. For those of you listening, her hair is long and thick and it's like my wig. And I'm so jealous and I love it.
It's my lion's mane.
Rawr.
By the way, I'm like a 42-year-old like adult who, is now making weird animal noises over a podcast that who knows how many people are going to watch.
Yes.
And just, I want to bring this up for a reason. Part of the practice, play, and pivot is also knowing that you can be any age, anything, and you are all the things.
Yes.
You are the wise woman or the wise man. You are the silly girl or the silly boy. You are the successful entrepreneur. You are all of those things. And making a weird animal noise or just having fun does not lessen any of those other parts of you. Right. So don't get caught wearing the masks that don't actually serve you. Like you're here only once and for a very short amount of time. Yeah. Let people look at you.
Yeah. Be your authentic self.
Like do the thing. Yeah. Right. We got to get through the judgment.
We do.
Yeah.
I feel as though you and I are definitely past that.
Well, phase. I told you one of the ways that I thought people could get through some judgment.
Which one?
The cucumber.
Oh, yeah. So she suggested for play to go into the grocery store and get a cucumber and dance with the cucumber in the aisle, right?
Yeah.
That will get some looks.
It's like, the best way to get over judgment is to create the thing that you're going to be judged in or at and do it.
Yes.
And do it on purpose because then it's coming and you can start to use the tools and get prepared. And then that way, when you're doing something unexpectedly and somebody judges you, you just don't care because you've done way worse.
You should have seen me yesterday.
Yeah. I was in the grocery store with a cucumber and this lady. Anyway.
So our next one is, can you discuss how you remap the mind when you use nano awareness? And just when we were talking, it's like you brought up how suffering is when you're not living in the present moment. So can you discuss that and maybe give them a tip that they can use at home?
Yeah. So this I love. So when I talk about nano awareness, we know the big things in life, right? So it's kind of easy to recognize that maybe you're not happy at your job. Right. Or in your relationship or with some particularly large thing. I don't like that food. I don't blah, blah, blah. Right. These are large awarenesses. The nano awarenesses are the tiny things in between each one of those things. So for instance, I was on a call today. And one of the things that they said, we were in the dream phase. And when we got out of the dream phase, I had asked a simple question like, well, how many children do you want? Like, she had talked about having kids in her vision. And she said, well, it depends on how my pregnancy goes. This is a nano awareness moment because she already projected.
I was going to say.
She already projected that pregnancy might be bad, so it would stop her from having as many kids as she wanted.
Wow.
That's a nano awareness.
Okay.
So what we did to reframe that was knowing that you are now a new and different person today than you were yesterday and that who you will be tomorrow. And taking away all of the possible things that could go wrong or otherwise. How many children would you love to have? And she said 3.
There you go.
And I said, then that's what you'll have. Yeah. And it will be easy. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about nano awareness. And the ways that we can practice those things is like, I do it like when I'm in the car. You ever start to drive your car and you think you're going somewhere and then your brain takes you to where you went yesterday?
Absolutely. All the time.
So like my mom hurt her wrist. And so I've been driving her. And so we go down the highway and there's this exit that brings me to this pet sit that I used to do regularly with this dog named Riley. I loved Riley, right? And so now every time I drive mom, I'm trying to take her to the barn to see her horse. I try to get off the exit to go see Riley. And she's like, you're not going to see Riley, Cody. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is your subconscious driving your bus.
Oh.
Do you know how often your subconscious actually drives what you do?
95% of the time.
That is correct.
Yes.
And do you know that the only way to get your subconscious to not drive that bus, which is like terrifying when you're like, who is actually driving the car? Right? Is by doing these things.
Yes.
Talk to yourself. I mean, actually, literally out loud, talk to yourself. What are you doing? Hey, I'm getting in the car. I am going to the barn. I'm passing the exit that Riley lives on. I am listening to the radio. I love this song. The trees look really beautiful in this spring budding. I just saw a hawk. So bring yourself into that very present moment. And this is how you just start to kind of exercise that part of the map of your mind that is the nano awareness.
Okay.
You're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing I tell people to do is try to pretend that you're outside of yourself. Don't disconnect yourself from the body, but just imagine when you're having a conversation with someone that there's a little balloon of yourself that's also watching.
Right.
So you can actually view how you're having this conversation. for instance, there's a part of me speaking right now that is in this speaking with you. And there's also the other part of me that's like, wow, look at Cody in this podcast.
She looks beautiful.
You know what she's
Red
doing?
outfit.
Hey, she's really nailed that one, or she missed this, or maybe that, right? And so it's just this is observer.
Yeah.
Because when I'm able to be the observer of the self, I can then also see where am I telling the same story that doesn't serve me?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? It allows you to watch your body. This is also a good indicator. You asked, like, what can they do out there, right?
Yeah.
So watch your body when you're talking. So if I start telling you, Lorraine, well, I started noticing these sounds in my car in the back, and they're kind of doing this like intermittent, like rant, rant, rant thing. And then in the front, there's like this like weird, like it kind of gives out for a second, but it makes like a squeak noise. Like there's a mouse in there, but like there isn't. You noticed what happened to my body.
She's kind of like more concave.
Okay.
Yeah. And
now,
her tone is like,
no. Okay.
Meh.
Right. All right.
Meh.
So guess what, Lorraine?
What?
Harry and Sally are finally getting reunited.
Look at this, guys.
It's the elephants that I've been helping for like the last year. And We Plant Joy and I are going to be on the ground with them for this moment in time where we get to see two elephants that have been separated by drought come back together. Family elephants that grew up since 1993 finally get to be together. And I can't wait to be there. What happened to my body?
Very different. You got taller, which you're 4'11". So
yeah,
that's
it's tough.
great.
It's tough to get taller when you're only 4'10 3/4.
I gave you quarter.
Yay!
So she got taller. Her shoulders went back. Her eyes were bigger. Yeah. And it was like she was so excited in her face.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is watching. So the observer gets to watch the expansion and the contraction in the body. The body will give you the information that you need that helps you navigate your nano awareness. And so when you start to get in tune with those things, that's what nano awareness does. It helps you get in tune with those things that will help you move in the world a little differently so that you can stay in your more expanded state more often. You can be more of a magnet for the things that you love. More people are going to want to be around you. More success will come your way. And this is how you make things happen. This is walking life with more peace, grace, and joy.
Okay. I love that. There we go. Mic drop. I felt like that was a huge TED.
Guys, you can't see this, but I'm about to drop my balloon microphone.
Oh, did you hear that, guys? She just dropped the mic. All right. So on to our next TED Talk item. Can you talk about how environment is a reflection of yourself? You had me do this and you were like, how's your basement? How's your living room? And when you talked about the surface area, because my living room is spotless, like it looks like it could be in Home and Gardens magazine. You look at my basement, it is a hot mess. There are boxes everywhere. It looks like a hoarder lives there. And I was like, wow, I am the person she's talking about. That surface level is great, but underneath it's like, okay, let's do some work here.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that?
I can.
Because I was like, wow.
Yeah. So if we're thinking about the body, you ever hear the term junk in the trunk?
Yes, I hear that all the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I've seen you at yoga.
I'm a voluptuous woman.
It's
for those
beautiful.
of you listening.
So there's this expression, junk in the trunk, and that doesn't just go for the nice round booty. It actually is like, what junk are you actually carrying in that bottom area of your body? If you know anything about the chakras and energy centers, right? You have the root chakra. That's the base. Now imagine if the base and the root chakra reflects in your home as the basement. And you store things down there. And you put things that you don't really think about down there. And this can also relate to certain compartments of the mind that you have taken and putting something away in the mind that you don't want to think about, or we'll do it later. We'll deal with it later. And that gets filed way, way back in the back of the mind. Okay. All that stuff ends up in your proverbial basement. The external of your home is the reflection of your internal home and vice versa. Okay. So your living room, your well lived in areas that people frequent. Yes. You are practiced and ready to share that at its best. And we still have some work to do. That can look perfect. And it doesn't mean that it's fake. Right. And it doesn't mean that it's surface level in the sense of that you don't have depth to your character and who you are. What it means is that there's a part of us that presents itself that we clean and we take care of regularly. Right? Yes. We regularly make sure our living room is clean. We regularly have these things. If you're in personal development, you regularly check your intention at the door.
Yes.
You know, right? It's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we're done with all of that, we still have some things.
Mm-hmm.
And where do we keep those? In the basement. So maybe we keep it in the kitchen junk drawer.
Mm.
So you can do two things. You can have an energy session and then, you know, really start to work on some things. And then all of a sudden you get this feeling like you want to go clean your basement.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to the basement and you can physically clean your space,
mm-hmm.
and it will help clear out your spiritual space, your physical body space.
Oh.
And a great example is I've been helping out this older woman in
Mm-hmm.
Virginia.
Yes.
And she's at an age where clearing out her house is not a possibility for
Mm-hmm.
herself. So I've been helping her. And she told me after I had done the garage and a lot of her living room area, which had a lot of boxes, a lot of collecting of things. Okay.
Yeah.
Once I cleared that and now I maintain it for her, she was like, the house feels so much lighter.
Aww.
And so do I.
Yeah.
She started losing physical weight on her
Mm-hmm.
body
Huh.
as the things in her environment changed and got lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great indicator, internal, external, right?
Mm-hmm.
As above, as below, all the things. They're all related.
Yes.
So when we talk about nano awareness, it's
Mm-hmm.
also talking about your space, your things. What's the inside of your car look like?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever you go into the room, you clean the junk drawer, you clean the whole room, and then you walk in and you go,
that feels great.
And then you walk out and you walk back in and you go, ah.
Mm-hmm.
Now walk into a room where things are not organized,
Mm-hmm.
still kind of need some work, and you go,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm. It's overwhelmed.
It's
Yeah,
overwhelming.
Yeah.
So, and if there are rooms like that you
Mm-hmm.
have, take one box, right?
Yeah.
We don't go doing our internal work and say, I'm going to heal myself tonight. Watch this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that. Healing isn't linear. It's this
Mhm.
process. It's cyclical. Layers peel back.
Yes.
So don't go into the basement thinking that maybe you're going to do all of it at once if that's overwhelming.
Mhm.
Unless you have a team and you're ready for the dumpster because
Yeah.
you're making a big move. Like, okay, great. Like, let's go.
Like me.
We love that. Yeah.
Like me moving from a 4-bedroom house to a 16-foot Airstream.
Airstream. Yeah. We gotta
I'm going to clean
we
my
gotta
basement.
clear out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to be really interesting, and you can maybe share that later when you do that. Like, what was it like to clear out your whole home and prepare yourself for this mobile kind of lifestyle?
Yeah.
And what did that do for you and your body and the freedom and the lightness that you felt?
Yes.
I know when I sold all my things, and I have a few boxes left to go through, don't get me wrong, but like the majority of all my things I sold, and I live in a little studio place. I prepared myself to be more portable and minimalist. And it's not for everyone. And I'm not saying that you all have to do this, but what I'm saying is that within that experience, you start to realize that you don't need as much as you have.
Yes.
And that a lot of the things that you have actually create weight.
I know.
They create a weight. And so you start to just clear it out. Clear it out one box at a time, one drawer at a time. Take on what you can that feels good, but just start to recognize, make a note. How am I feeling right now? I'm feeling this, this, and this. Now go clean the drawer. How did you feel afterward?
Yes.
And just start to notice that when you do these things for yourself, it's actually doing something for you far deeper than just, I cleaned the kitchen drawer. It's so much bigger than that.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to clean my basement and see if that affects like the root chakra, which is also attached to like money and finances and all of that. And then maybe even like your client, like lose some extra weight because things are lighter in my life. I'm so excited for this.
I know. It's a lot of fun.
Stay tuned, guys, because I will detail this.
She will. I know she will.
Podcast.
I'm excited.
Woo. All right. So
Part two
with Cody. Can you give the listeners 2 key takeaways that they can actually implement in their lives?
Definitely.
For happiness.
For
I
happiness.
should clarify.
Happiness. Well, the funny one is like smiling more releases endorphins into your mind, right? So just check your face. Like, honestly, like,
Hi.
it, like you're working the muscles. It helps keep this shit tight, your face tight. But more than that, just recognizing how your face looks in the car when you're driving, kind of maybe getting away from the RBF a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My mom is not going to know what that is. I'll tell you later, Mom.
Yeah.
My mom watches the Raven, so she has no idea.
Hi, Mom.
RBFS.
So definitely just take the awareness to the body a little bit and just notice, like, what's your face doing?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? What are you doing in the car when somebody drives by? Like, just start to just smile a little bit more. That's like one of the tiniest, great things that you can do.
Okay. What's one more that they can actually do?
Start writing down your vision. Start writing it down today. You can, I'm so happy and grateful now that I ... and it's 3 years from now, and just start writing down the things that you would love. You don't need to know how to get there. You don't need to know the next step. We're taking all of that off the table. It's just everything that needed to happen happened, and this is what you have. And write it as if you already have it.
Yes. That's what she had me do. And I love looking back on that. It's like, it started out with, I am so happy and grateful that I now have, right? And then it was my 3 years from now life. And I love reading that and looking at that. So yeah, that's a powerful one, guys. I highly recommend you do that. And that'll shed light on like your areas, right?
100%.
Where you gotta work.
Well, so part of the, just to put a little more light on how really special just that is. When I was in the coaching, when they were teaching me that at the Brave Thinking Institute, I ended up writing about the elephants. And I would write how, I'm so happy and grateful now that the elephants that I met, and we did this, and this, and the one elephant, she went up my leg with her trunk and then touched my face. And I had that visual and that feeling, and I felt it. I like viscerally felt it in my body. And 4 years later, not 3, but 4, but we did have that little hiccup in there where the whole world got closed down. So not so bad, right? 4 years later, I was actually meeting an elephant, and her name was Sally. And she actually did exactly that. She traced her leg with my trunk, and her trunk touched my face. Aww. And now I get to go back and see her and Harry be reunited. So
it works.
These things work. When you feel it and you know it, it will come. I promise.
Oh, I look forward to me sitting on my dock with my husband, drinking my coffee.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
Is it mushroom coffee or like regular coffee?
It's regular coffee.
Okay,
like
cool.
strong black
like
coffee.
With caffeine?
Oh, so much caffeine.
You guys are so welcome that I didn't drink coffee before I came here.
Or she does not need coffee.
No.
If you saw her, she's like,
you wouldn't understand any of this podcast. You'd be using the slow down the voice button. You know how like you can 1.5 exit?
Yeah. She would be at half speed.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I feel like we discussed all the things, ways to live a happier life. So now basically, how can they work with you?
Yeah. So, if you guys would love to just kind of see what this is about, even you don't know where to start, you can hop on a call with me. You can find me at codywasial.com. Cody, C-O-D-Y, Wasial, W-A-S as in Sam, I-A-L.com. You can find me at the Cody Factor on Instagram. So there's lots of different ways that you can follow me. You get a lot of cool little tips and tricks on my social medias that you can gather. And you just sign up for a Strategies for Joy call. It's a half hour like Lorraine did.
Yes, that's what I did.
And, we just see where we can go. I give you everything I can in that half hour. And then it's no pressure. You either decide you want to move forward and really take the leap. There's 3 different ways that you can work with me. There's 3 months, 6 months, and a year. I noticed that 3 months we're just getting cooking. So I really recommend like 6 months or a year because there's such beautiful transformation. I noticed the best results in my life when I had my full year that I was being coached.
Yes.
And then I took that forth into the world and practiced it. So a lot of it was learning and practicing in the process, gaining all those tools, having someone cheerleader you, give you direction, I'll bring people through the 12 pillars that, are a part of my program. You'll get access to, the healers that I know, if that's up your alley, the holistic stuff, healthy water. We're going to look at the toxins in your home. It's a full life transformation. It's not just about mindset or this or that. We're going to look at your business. If you're an entrepreneur, we're going to see where you're feeling burnt out. We're going to look at your communications and your relationships and see how we can communicate better to create more love, safety, and security in those spaces. It's a full life transformation. So this doesn't happen overnight. This is not a quick fix. So this would not be for people who just want, to change, overnight. But if you're really somebody who's like, listen, I know that I need to do a few things and I could really go deeper and I really want to feel that essence and joy in life. You know, the Instagram version of what people put out there.
Instagram versus reality.
Yeah. You know, there's a truth to that. But you can get closer to your version of your Instagram life, you know, for yourself. And we can kind of help you get there.
Oh, I love that.
Not kind of get you there. We can. Yeah. I just didn't want you to think that it was Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's legit.
Yeah,
she is definitely the joy.
It's you want to practice what you practice what you preach.
Yes.
So I can take you as deep as I've gone with myself. I can take you to those places if you're willing to go there. So if you're willing to go there and you want to switch it up, hop on a Strategies for Joy call.
Like I did.
Call me, email me. You know, all the things.
Follow her on Instagram. It's pretty enlightening. I love watching your videos. And she built me a happy face at hot yoga the other day. It was great.
You got to be on brand.
Yeah, I got to be so on brand.
The people in the class were looking at me and I was just like, I'm making a happy face. And then I'm like, look, I made a happy face.
And I noticed it and I walked in and we were like definitely the loudest one in the class.
She's like, did you make me a happy face? I was like, yeah, I did. And I looked at the guy at on the yoga mat and I was like, see, I told you she'd know it was a happy face.
He's just like, meh.
He was like, oh, huh. Okay.
It's a little early for you guys right now.
9 a.m. on a Sunday. And we're about to sweat profusely. Yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you so much for being on here. I can't wait to watch your journey with the elephants, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to document that in
case
they want to watch?
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys want to watch that, it's at WEE Plant Joy on Instagram. And that's also weeplantjoy.com, the website. So you can find all the social media handles from there. But yeah, you can, if you want to support the process, there's ways to donate, there are ways to get involved. We Plant Joy is all about conservation and preservation of our lands, animals, and oceans. This was our first project. We're going to be moving forward to ocean conservancy and doing a lot of really cool things. We got our official 501c3 paperwork, back in December. So it's all, able to be written off. So there's lots of different ways to get involved and be a part of it. Sponsorships, memberships, founding members, or just buying some stickers for a couple of bucks that make you feel like you've, you're a part of something. Aww. We do one project at a time, so you know exactly where your money's going and you can feel the impact that you have on the world.
Okay. I love that. We'll link that in the show notes in case they want to donate. It's a not-for-profit, right?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
So
100%.
If you guys want to donate, we're going to link that in the show notes.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Lorraine.
Well, thank you so much, Cody.
I'm so happy to be here.
Happy. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening.
Thanks so much for listening. To stay connected to me, please visit my website at chooseahappyday.com. And at the bottom, just sign up for my email list to be notified of any upcoming events, book launches, as well as new podcasts. Until next time, have a happy day.